5 questions about the NBA playoffs and the Dallas Mavericks as we go into Game 3 tonight.
Tonight in Dallas, if you're going to the game, wear all blue, baby. It's a blue out.
Oh, we're ready for it right here. Locked On Now.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and coordinator for the Locked On Podcast Network. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor at Mavs.com, the Blue Boy, the One More Thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Man, I'm so excited for tonight.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Also, I love our names on the screen right now.
I should take those off, shouldn't I? Shout out to Marcus Mosher and the Locked On Cowboys podcast. Listen to that 5 days a week.
I just love how mine actually says I miss a Wandu.
On YouTube. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do that. All right. There you go.
But no, I'm so excited. I think this is the most excited I've been for a game for, gosh, I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, to cover a game for sure over the past 5-6 years, and just that, yeah, I mean, Luka's first playoff game in front of a home crowd, like that's unbelievable.
Big stuff.
Now, I have seen some people throw out there just loosely, hey, this will be the craziest crowd Luka's ever played in front of. I don't think that. I think
in the NBA, sure. In the NBA, sure.
Yes, Luka has played in some amazing crowds overseas. But anyway, I'm so excited for Friday night. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, today, Friday night, we're recording this late Thursday, so it is game day. We are very excited. Today's episode is brought to you by Locker Room. Download the app and join us any day of the week. Follow me at Nick Van Exit and get into all the action. Locker Room, changing the way we talk sports. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into the topic today. 5 questions, 5 burning questions. I don't have a burn thing, so I'll just do this. 5 take that with you questions about the NBA playoffs and the Dallas Mavericks. Going into Game 3, hit me with the first one.
Okay, well, since we're recording this on Thursday night, I'll go out of order. We just finished watching Blazers Nuggets. And so one of my questions
is the first question, who are the starting guards for the Denver Nuggets? Because good God.
Well,
good God, Lemon. Who are these guards?
I don't like Austin Rivers because every time I see him hit a clutch 3, it just takes me back to the days of him hitting that dang 3 for Duke. And I just hate all of it. So, but are there any predictions as far as teams that you already want to change your mind about?
Ooh.
And for me, I have 2 teams that one of them specifically I picked, like the Bucks. I picked the Bucks to beat Miami. I just didn't think the Bucks would beat them this bad and look as good as they're looking. And now I'm starting to rethink a little bit of, well, dang, can the Bucks really get to the final? Because I just, in my mind, I never gave them a shot. For me, it was Brooklyn up here. I had Philly second, and I had the Bucks like a step lower. And now I'm just starting to rethink all of it.
Yeah, that's the one that really stands out, right? As one that you may change your pick if you had going in, because Atlanta, New York, everyone thought that was either going to go 7 or it was just going to be a really good matchup. And so that one being tied 1-1 isn't surprising. No. Philly up 2-0, that's not surprising. Brooklyn up 2-0, not surprising. Phoenix and the Lakers, maybe you didn't expect Game 1, but this series, the result right now, you're not surprised by.
It is bullcrap that Chris Paul got hurt Game 1. I mean, that's just dumb.
It's his career, man.
Not in Game 1 though.
It just no, but I'm saying it just happens to him. It's like this weird Murphy's Law with him. He just gets to a certain point and he gets injured. It's so strange. I mean, Mavericks, Clippers, we did not expect them to win both Game 1 and 2. We expected Game 1, but not 2. And so maybe that one, but then we still had the Mavs anyway. So we're sort of in the minority. And then Utah, Memphis, that's probably a gentleman's sweep or a douchebag sweep, whatever you want to call it, where the bottom team only wins 1 game. Because man, that Game 2 looked that game 2 looks so lopsided. So I don't know if I'm changing anything, to be honest. It's a boring answer, but I don't think I'm changing any of my predictions so far. The Bucks Heat one is the only one, right, where you would change it and just change the number of games.
I have another team on this that I thought Portland would win this series. And
well, they still could.
They still could, but now we've seen Denver just finish off this game and they've won 2 in a row. I just didn't I thought losing Jamal Murray would just be way too much. I didn't think an Austin Rivers and Campazzo backcourt would would win these games against, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So I think Denver's the team that I'm starting to shift my mindset on of, well, dang, I don't think either one of these teams are beating the Lakers, and I don't know.
Portland is wild to me because in this game tonight on Thursday night, like Nurkic here's a stat. I think Dan Devine tweeted this out, the Ringer. The Blazers outscored the Nuggets by 10 points in the 19 minutes that Nurkic played in the first half. They got outscored by 15 points in the 5 minutes that Enes Kanter played. Like, it's so the difference between when Nurkic plays, and Nurkic has now, I think he fouled out in this game and he fouled out in another game, so he's either gotten close or has fouled out in 2 games now of the 3. And like, that's huge for them. Like, that's their whole series, is this Nurkic versus Jokic matchup. And they just cannot have him sit almost at all, because who else is going to play besides Kanter, right? Like, have you seen Caleb Swanigan lately? He's not on the team, but have you seen him lately?
I have. He's going through a life moment.
Prayers out to him for sure. But there's just no one else for them to play, right? Like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson's like another big that they played. There's just nobody else. So yeah, that one's a little surprising, but it's Jokic, man, and Porter Jr. and Gordon has added like a pretty good element to that team. And then they got this wild card from Austin Rivers in this game.
Are the Lakers really going to have to play a Chris Paul-less Suns team and then a Jamal Murray-less Denver team?
Yeah. I mean, they are. That's probably.
Bull crap.
Okay. Hardest road to the finals.
Hey, well, he's already won the 2 hardest finals ever. So the bubble.
This happens though, right? Like, we can go through some finals, but think about this. It's what makes the Dirk finals and the Dirk championship mean so much more, right? It does, because there wasn't that many injured guys he went through.
Shout out to Grant.
Everybody was playing.
Shout out to Grant Gunn, who tweeted at us today and said he did his homework and went back and looked up the series that we gave homework at the end of yesterday's pod. Said go back and look at the Jazz Mav series back when Dirk was 22, and he did homework, and I really appreciated that. So thank you, Grant.
Shut it down. Let's go home.
Somebody did homework. That's shut it down.
Okay, question number 2. Who makes more changes if they lose in the first round? We did this before the playoffs a little bit, as far as like who's on the hot seat, who has the most, what's at stake the most for some of these teams. But now that we're actually in it, we're seeing the manner in which Miami's getting beat. We see the manner that Clippers are down 0-2.
Yep.
I'm putting the Blazers in this too. If they lose to a Denver team without Jamal Murray, out of those 3 teams, who is making the most changes? And I'm going to leave changes a broad term. We're talking front office, coaching, big time roster overhaul.
So you're saying not just adjustments to their playing style. You're saying straight up. Which team out of all the playoff teams?
No. Those 3 teams, Clippers, Blazers, and Miami. Out of those 3, how would you rank those as far as, and I'm putting Miami in there mainly because I'm putting them in there because of the manner in which they're getting beat.
Yep.
Like, they're getting just clobbered, and it's making the whole group of people out there like, man, the bubble is just a one-off thing, right? And it's like, that whole group, which I never fully believed, they're like really excited right now because it feels like their point is being proven right, seeing Miami just getting clobbered. And so out of those 3 teams, who's making the most changes across the board?
I mean, if you just look at the Miami Heat's cap sheet, right? Like, you just look at the players that they have next year, right? Like, Oladipo's unrestricted free agent, so that's money off the books. You have Dragic and Andre Iguodala. Those are non-guaranteed, right? Or they're team options. So those guys could totally be gone, which is kind of interesting to watch that Dragic one. You have Bam is on the books, Hero's on the books, Precious on the books, Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn, both restricted free agents. Those guys are really interesting. Both of those guys. Haslam's It doesn't probably doesn't matter, but Ariza's gone. Bielitsa's gone. Bielitsa was on their team. That's so wild to me. I can't even remember him. But that team is going to make a bunch of changes, right? No matter if they win or lose, probably, or if they take it to 6 or not. So I think that is your answer. It's a little bit boring because they were going to make changes anyway, but I think that's your team.
Okay. I still want to say the Clippers.
Oh, we can take a look at the Clippers.
I still want, just because Miami, I don't think they're changing some of their main core. Like, I think Jimmy's staying there. I think Bam's staying there. I think Spo's staying. I don't think they're doing anything front office wise. I think those make the main core players and like personnel is staying the same. I don't know if I'm as confident. Like, if Portland loses to this Denver team, are they breaking up CJ and Dame? Or
we've done this every year.
I know, but and it's like that one Western Conference Finals thing. It's almost like it threw it off of like, yeah, we made it, so now we keep the band together. And I think my answer is still the Clippers. I just don't think they bring back all the core players again. Front office, Ty Lue, Kawhi, Paul George. I don't think all of those people are back. One of those are gone, I think.
We'll get into this a little bit more, talk about who's going to make the most changes, and get into a couple more burning questions. But before we do, Built Bar. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They're absolutely delicious. I ate one today. Look at this one I just had. Raspberry. Absolutely delicious. They're really good. Good for you. Love the raspberry one.
Has a little like grains of raspberry in it. It's good.
Just a little, like it's chocolate bar basically with 100% chocolate around it. And then just a little fruit taste. Just that little aftertaste of like, boom, the zing, the tartness. Boom. You love it. There's all kinds of flavors you can get right now. They always come up with new ones too. Birthday cake just had a run. The coconut brownie chunk just had a run. They had some churro puffs one time. They're trying all kinds of stuff. They're very innovative, which I really appreciate. They don't just stick to one thing. Go check out the bars. They're really good. Go to builtbar.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON15 or LOCKED15 and get a 15%, get 15% off. I almost said 15% promo code. I guess that counts too. 15% off your first order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at builtbar.com. Go get you a box today. And also, change it up. Get different flavors. You can get a box with 3 different flavors. That's the best version. There's 6 in each box. They're absolutely great. Go get them. Built Bar. All right. Isaac Harris. Let's get into some more questions. All right, I wanted to keep talking about who's going to make the most changes and look at the Clippers. We'll do this a lot more as the offseason goes on. We'll probably preview a bunch of teams' off seasons, but this Clippers team, like Kawhi is the one that sticks out, right? But the Paul George, Morris, Kennard, those are the 3 long-term pieces the Clippers have.
Yeah.
That if they do lose in this first round and if they get swept, right? Like if they get swept, I think they really do make some wholesale type changes because Ballmer's not going to stand for that, especially to a team that they shouldn't have lost to. So it's one of those 3 guys probably. Maybe Beverly, maybe like that's probably it, right? Because everyone else is kind of gone. Zubats is probably staying.
What if Portland and the Clippers lose and they just swap McCollum for Paul George?
Is that a good trade?
Who wins that trade?
I think like on paper, the Blazers win that trade.
On paper.
In practice, I don't know, right? Like, isn't that wild? I really don't know who wins that trade.
I don't think it'd be worth to do the chemistry swap out for like an even, I don't know, but that's wild. I know this is like completely random. Remember when Tyler Hero was on the table for James Harden and there were section of Miami Heat fans were like, no, we wouldn't do it. We're not giving up Tyler for James Harden. Like, well, how you feeling about that? Right.
Tyler Hero has like scored less than 30 points in the first 3 games combined. Man, he is really struggling. It's just so weird looking back. And then Jay Crowder is like 1 of 20 from 3 in these first 3 games against the Lakers, and he was blazing hot from 3 in the bubble. The bubble was weird, man. Like there's some weird, funky stuff there.
Shout out to Jay Crowder who chose the Suns over the Mavs in free agency, and there's a world in which Mavericks make it to the second round, the Suns don't. So
that's true. They had a much better regular season though than the Mavericks, but.
Very true. Injuries killed him right now, but
yeah, for sure. It be a completely different series if Chris Paul wasn't hurt.
Okay, so I have a couple Mavs related ones I'm saving for the last 2, but this next one, since we're already kind of on this topic and we've talking about the Clippers. The big thing that I honestly don't feel like it's getting talked about enough is Kawhi Leonard. And I feel like if Kawhi was, I don't know, like if Kawhi was somebody else, like I feel like that would be the leading thing every single person would be talking about right now.
If he was LeBron, right? If he was LeBron or Durant, or if
Durant,
he was
like Steph,
Curry.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that it's kind of just this underlying, hey, he's down 0-2 and they could like fail again. They could. Series not over. But right now, Kawhi loses this series. Where is he at next year?
Man.
What do you think?
Miami?
And I wrote down 1, 2, 3. I wrote down 5 teams, but I honestly think he just stays in LA. Nobody knows. Like Kawhi,
No one knows.
Don't. Yeah. Sorry, Ari Abraham. You don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But I mean, like gut
his sources, Isaac. His sources.
He does have sources. Hey, well, I was gonna make another joke, but didn't want to. Anyway, so gut tells you he's just gonna stay in, California. We don't know what Kawhi wants right now. He's won a couple titles with different teams. Like, what is he prioritizing? All of that. But if it's a winning type thing and he wants to leave the Clippers, why are you laughing?
Because the thing, I think Simmons said this on his Bill Simmons said this, that like we were talking so what if Kawhi like loses this first round series against the Mavs, and then 2 years with the Clippers, this Clippers team put together with this crazy depth, they win 1 playoff series in 2 years. And
against
then
the Mavericks team who didn't have KP for 3 games and Luka on a hobble.
And then all of a sudden, revisionist history is like, oh, the Mavericks probably would have won that series, which we've been saying for 365 days. But Kawhi, we were talking about, well, what if Kawhi wins a Finals MVP with a 3rd team? What would that mean? That would be so wild. And now we're like, they may not even get anywhere close to that, right? Like that has to take a hit on the legacy a little bit.
Yeah. So for Kawhi, I think Miami is the natural one. I think. Yeah. I mean, are any teams looking at New York right now and just seeing MSG and saying, hey, that place is rocking? It would be cool to see. I don't know if Kawhi is a New York type of guy or cares about that big stage.
Would love to play for Tibbs where he starts Elfrid Payton for no reason at all.
Imagine him talking to hey, Tibbs, I have a plan where I play like every 3rd game and I only play like 30 minutes. So Tibbs like, no, bye.
Where I play every 3rd game.
I mean, deep down Kawhi at this point is just saying, why didn't I just go to the Lakers? Like
maybe we don't know what Kawhi thinks, right? Like,
I know,
that's the thing about him.
I feel like that's kind of weird. I mean, Dallas, we all talk about Dallas. We all joke about Dallas.
It's been our bit for like 2 months. Ever since Giannis signed, it's been our bit.
Yeah, we just shifted from Giannis to Kawhi.
Yeah, right.
But I think if he wants to win, I think it's the easiest. Right, like that's the route to go because you're pairing with Luka Doncic for this, the last years of your prime, basically. And Kawhi and Luka, I mean, KP can still be on the team at that point too. It immediately puts them into conversation every single year moving forward for the title. So
everything.
Is there a world that Golden State could pull off a Kawhi like sign and trade?
God, with what? With Clay?
I don't know. Like Wiseman, the Minnesota pick, stuff like that. It's like Golden State is still in, he could still do the helicopter ride to Golden State. I don't know. It's just whatever.
Next year they have Wiggins for $31.5 million. That's kind of the one salary that they can
had a really
make
good
a case, but
4th quarter in the play.
What if they get like the 2nd pick? What if in the lottery they somehow get the 2nd pick?
Yeah.
They get the 2nd pick, Wiseman.
Actually, I don't think Wiggins. They get 2nd because I think it's like top 4 protected in Minnesota.
Well, they have 2 picks.
Oh, they have their own, yeah. Okay, enough on Kawhi. This one's intriguing to me because I started looking up unrestricted free agents in the playoffs because it seems like every year we have an unrestricted guy going into unrestricted free agency that like, all right, you're making some money this playoff run.
Oh, I'm sorry. Warriors can get the 4th pick with Minnesota. It's top 3.
Okay, 4th pick. So my question to you, I think Tim Hardaway is that clear guy right now that is making bank over the first few games of the playoffs. That if he continues this, I think he's raising the amount that he could get on his paycheck. So my question for you, who is going to make more money just next year? Tim Hardaway, Mike Conley, Oladipo, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan.
Oh gosh, man.
Who's making more money next year? Not long term, not onto that, just next year. Who's making the most, and how far down that list is Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Okay, well, Tim Hardaway's making more than
Oladipo for sure.
Oladipo, yeah, that's the one that stood out to me the most.
Yeah. Conley,
I could see Hardaway, like if Hardaway wants to, he could go find a deal probably that's big, right? Like he could go find a deal. But if he stays with the Mavs, I have a feeling that they're gonna try the hometown discount kind of deal.
And Brad tweeted out today. Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News, said that Dallas. I think it was Brad or Tim McMahon. Sorry, one of them said that hey, Dallas is confident.
It was Stein.
Oh, sorry guys. Whatever. That's one of the only 3 or 4 people.
It may have been one of those things where they all do it at the same time, and I definitely saw Stein do it.
Somebody sent out a text.
Yeah, they got a text, right?
That the Mavericks are confident in re-signing Tim stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to say Kyle Lowry makes more than him next year.
Yeah.
Him versus DeRozan is just fascinating for me.
And like DeRozan should, right? Like he's a better player.
Should he though?
But the shooting part, that's the only thing. Literally the only difference.
Like, I would pick DeMar DeRozan if we're going to play pickup. But if I'm trying to add somebody to my team, Tim Hardaway's the guy.
It's the shooting that matters so much. Also, I'm saying it's the difference.
Yeah.
DeRozan has so many other skills. Like, offensively, DeRozan's such a different player than Hardaway. But it's just that shooting, right? The shooting matters so much. Like, we went over game 2 for the Mavericks against the Clippers, how the Clippers out-rebounded them. They hit more free throws. They did all these things, more points, in the paint. They did more fast break points, like all these different things. And more points in the fourth quarter. But the Mavericks out 3-point shot them. And then he can make up for so many mistakes. And so if you have a guy like that, the Mavericks can't get rid of somebody like that. Like, if they replace Tim Hardaway with DeRozan, this team is so different.
No. Yeah. You can't do that. Okay, so we both agree Lowry. Would you say Conley makes more than him next year?
Conley's an interesting. He was just an all-star. If you want to consider that, but the thing is with guys like Lowry and Conley and even DeRozan now at this point in his career, they can make the decision. I'm going to go play somewhere where I'm going to win and make less money, or I'm going to go play in Sacramento or, somewhere where I'm going to make the most money. Like, you can make that decision. There's a crossroads there that those guys can make. All 3 of those guys.
Yes, for sure. I think he's third on that list. I think Tim Hardaway will make more next year than DeMar DeRozan.
Ooh, is that spicy?
Shut it down! Is it spicy?
Let's go!
It might be spicy.
Okay, I'll save my Luka one for the third segment.
Okay, coming up, let's get into Isaac's Luka question about something. You could have teased it.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about 22 years old and younger players in the West and the East.
Ooh, but before we do that, let's talk about BetOnline. BetOnline is the platform to put some money down on sports. Go check it out. Here it is. betonline.ag. You can put some money. Let's check out the Dallas Mavericks NBA game. Check it right there. Clippers still a 2-point favorite in Dallas at the AAC against the Dallas Mavericks. If you are guaranteeing a win tomorrow, and I know I've seen a lot of you guys on Twitter real excited about the Mavericks and calling a win for tomorrow. Everybody's wearing blue. We're all excited. One guy tweeted us, and he's wearing all green, the full jersey and kit, all that stuff. Shout out to you, man. Still, I would wear blue. But the Mavericks, if you're feeling that, go put some money down on BetOnline and use the promo code LOCKEDON. Get 50% welcome bonus. So it gives you 50% more of the money that you put on as a deposit, and you can use that money to bet on the Mavericks. So go check that out. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Also, want to tell you about Rockauto.com. Rock Auto is an auto and body parts store online that is serving customers for 20 years. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been in it for a long time and a good time because it is easy to get the parts that you need. Their catalog is unique and remarkably easy to navigate. Quickly see all the parts available for your vehicle. Choose the brand, specifications, and prices that you prefer. Best of all, prices at rockauto.com are always, always, always reliably low. The same for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Why would you want to spend up to twice as much for the same part somewhere else. Have to go find it, all that stuff. Go to rockauto.com right now, see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in there. How did you hear about us box? And they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Rockauto.com. All right, Isaac Harris, hit me with your Luka question.
Hit me with your best shot. I was actually looking up 2-guard contracts of seeing who Tim would be close to. It's like, would he be close to a Gary Harris, like $20 million a year type contract, or would he want the Buddy Hield? Like,
anybody still paying Chandler Parsons?
Okay, so I was watching Ja go off the other night, like
Yeah.
a lot of us, and one, I feel I love Ja Morant. Ja over Zion. Yes.
Vindication a little bit for you.
Yes. Sign me up for that. I was about that. 22 years old and younger, West versus the East.
Ooh, I'm ready for this.
I'm going to give you, and this is going into this season. So I'm including Jason Tatum in this because he just turned 23 like 2 months ago.
Do we have to write these down? We should probably write these down.
Well, I'm just going to give you a top 3 from each conference, and I'm going to tell you which one would you take. I know you're going to take Luka probably, but
I mean, yeah.
in the West, Luka, Ja, and Zion.
Whew, that's trio right there. That could win the 3-on-3 anywhere, right? Like maybe not defensively, but
in the East, Jason Tatum, LaMelo, and Trae Young.
Ooh, that's a spicy one too. That's an interesting one too. Like
those two together, like that. It's fascinating to think about those 6 players. It's when you start breaking it down after that. That's when there's a depth piece for the West compared to the East, because right after that in the East, you have Tyler Hero, RJ Barrett, Darius Garland, Sexton, Bridges.
Miles Bridges.
Yes, Miles Bridges, Hachimura, Patrick Williams.
Oof, that took a dip there.
I know it's a dip at that point.
And you're just talking 22 years old and younger.
Yes, just 22 and under. You go up to the West, you still have, after those top 3, you still have SGA. You still have Michael Porter Jr., Halliburton, wherever you think about Wiseman, Edwards, who's probably going to win the Rookie of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr., DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, that's doing.
Shout out to DeAndre Ayton.
He's been playing so well.
I love seeing him succeed because I'm like, man, I always felt for him that.
I'm going to do this here. Marvin Bagley's been complaining like, oh, you comparing me to Luka. You know who doesn't get compared to Luka ever is DeAndre Ayton, because he just goes out there and plays, and he plays well, right? Like, make your play, get them to shut up, right? No one ever is like, oh, they should have got Luka instead of Ayton. They're just playing well now.
Yeah, how are Kings fans watching like the playoffs right now? Because I mean, we need to have Matt George on just for a segment on this, because there's one thing to miss out on Luka, but then to see Ayton play like he is, to see Luka, to see Trae Young.
Yep.
I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr., their team is, probably overperforming a little bit, but he's not playing a ton. It's just like, man, Bagley. So cool.
Did you say Porter Jr.? That's another one there.
Yeah, that's true. What's wild looking at that draft is, Porter Jr., could have went to the Clippers, the pick before that. And it's like, what would that look like?
Porter Jr.'s talent, though, we were talking about him as a top 5 guy, and so they could have, taken that big swing, which we would have all laughed at. But yeah,
and you heard so much in that pre-draft process of all these teams that liked Porter in the top 5, top 6. And you're like, man, he had the back problems, but everybody, it's like, is that really? And now he slipped to 14, and now you're seeing what the talent is.
He's got a lot. If he was playing for the Kings, I think he would be averaging like 30 points a game.
Probably, yes.
And they would play fast, and they would take a bunch of threes, and I think he would hit a lot.
Well, I tweeted this out about the West. It's like, man, we have Luka and Ja and Zion and SGA and Porter Jr., all these like big time under 22 guys. And then dang it, if we're not going to get 2 of these guys in this upcoming draft, that's going to go to Houston and OKC. Like there's a chance that Cade Cunningham, who everybody's hyping up so much, and I think he's a really good player, he could go to Houston or OKC, and you're like, well, dang it, we're gonna have another one of these guys in the Western Conference.
Minnesota has some odds there too. I mean, they could get a top 3 pick for sure. Sacramento could get a top 5 pick. New Orleans could still get it. Like they still have odds. These flattened odds really change the calculus for a lot of teams.
Like, can we just go to the East? I just want you guys in the East.
East can't even tank right. Come on, guys.
Because like that Zion draft, Zion and Ja, it's like both of those two guys. For me, it was those two guys at the top, and then a drop to RJ. And it's like, well, cool. 2 Western Conference teams get the first 2 picks.
And they're always at the top of the draft too. These East teams, wow. And do you have one more question we can get to quickly?
No, well, my question was which top 3 would you take? Luka, Ja, Zion versus Tatum, LaMelo, and Trey. Is it just clear Plains Day of the West?
There's something about like Trae Young's showing us a little bit here in this Knicks series, and I'm excited to see more of it. But like Ja and Luka, they just have something, right? Like there's just a little there's something there where they just win, right? They just make winning plays. And Ja, it's not even with his shooting necessarily. It's just his decision making, his ability to get to the basket. And Luka has it too. Luka can, is a better shooter. But yeah, there's something about those 2 guys I'd just rather have than probably anyone else on the list, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Jason Tatum, how many years in a row have we said, like, oh, does he have it? And then
we've at least seen him make it to a conference finals, though.
I know, but that wasn't on the back of Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
He was like a young guy.
He had a role to play in that, though.
But I've listened to John Krause during this season too much because it's just been such a awful season. But
Lou Dort, we didn't mention Lou Dort.
Lou Dort, there you go. All right, that's the show today. We are so excited for Game 3. We will have a post game for you. We'll both be on it. We will be very excited to talk about it. Isaac will be there in the arena. We're so excited, guys. Also, if you're going to the game, don't be an ass, right? Like, do not throw popcorn at players. Don't spit at players. Do not say vulgarities at players. Like,
we don't like Rondo. We get it. I don't
represent. Yes, represent MFFLs well. You can yell F Rondo. That's fine. Whatever. But don't be going after parents or siblings or please. This is our plea to you guys to just stay classy, MFFLs.
Just ask yourself, what would Mavrello do?
I'm Mavrello Balovic, owner of Mavs.
We'll be back with a podcast after Game 3. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.